So good morning, everybody, and welcome one and all. Just to remind everybody, we are being live streamed on Facebook Live, for those who would like to participate that way, or alternatively, joining us here on the phone. If you want to speak and participate, and you're on Zoom with us, feel free to unmute yourself, and we will be able to have a conversation, so it's not just a monologue on my part. So for the uninitiated, or those who maybe had a memory lapse over the past Shabbos, the section that we're up to in Sefer Breisheet is, of course, chapter 14, Parak Yod Daled, and we're in the midst of the encounter between Avraham Avinu and Malki Tzedek Melech Shalem, which Chazal identify as Shem ben Noah. We made the point already that some of the words that are here might have had a different meaning in antiquity, particularly because of the, call it the profanation, like the word profane. Profanation of language, that even the terminology of describing HaKadosh Baruch Hu started to take on a cast of being almost like a secular way of speaking. Like a person today would say, you know, you have people who use language in a very loose way. The joke is often made about the American dollar bill. What does it mean when people say, in God we trust, but really it's all about the money, right? So that's like a diminution maybe of God's greatness, that his name appears on money. By the by, there are halachic implications. There was the question, could you bring the money into the washroom because it has God's name? Well, that's not really God's name, but it's a kinui. It's an expression, a nickname, if you will, of God's name. So then the question became, well, when you write, let's say God, G-O-D, you have to put a dash in that or not? You know, so by me, I don't put a dash for G-O-D. So you're saying the word God. I put G-D to represent Hashem. So that's also the name of God. If you're writing G-D to represent the name of Hashem, so you just wrote the name of Hashem, the kinoi of the name of Hashem, the same way. But at a certain moment in history, we saw last week that chapter 4, the last pasuk, Sefer Breisheet, is Az Huchal Likro B'Shem Hashem. Then people started to call it the name of Hashem, but Chazal understand that to be Huchal means not only to start, lahatchil, but also it means milashon chol, kodesh, sacred versus chol, that which is profane. And therefore, the idea that even people would call each other the name of God, but they were profanating the language. Therefore, it's no accident that there should be idols that have names that sound just like God's name. So, for instance, the god, small g, the false god, El, E-L, that was well known in antiquity. Later on, Baal, also meaning master, El meaning the mighty one, etc. Michamocha ba'elim Hashem means who is like you among the mighty God, but it also means among those who are holding themselves up as gods, small g. Yeah? The idea of all of this was connected, we said, to the language that Shem ben Noah uses in his conversation with Avraham Avinu. He refers to HaKadosh Baruch Hu as El Elyon. So the Ramban says, since all of the nations had a notion that they were servile in some way, serving different angels, so those angels were called the Elim, the mighty ones. So he was called the Kohen Lekel Elyon. What does it mean? He's the priest, the minister of the supreme power, meaning of Hashem, right? So the Ran writes, Malki Tzedek would mention whenever he spoke about Hashem, his expression, his kinui for Shem Hashem was he would use the expression Kel Elyon, the supreme God, in order to remind people, if you already hold that there's some kind of pantheon of gods, lo aleinu, it's itself a foolish and idolatrous notion. So you should just know the supreme one is God, right? That's sort of like a federation, if you will, of the spiritual world, but Hashem's still at the top. This is also not our way, but the point is he was working within the context of what he had, what the people had. And so therefore he's described in that manner. And then if you see verses 19 and 20, where it describes that he blessed Avraham, Baruch Avraham Lekel, who is the maker of heaven and earth, the Kodesh Shemayim V'Aretz, not with any other force or power, only the Kelion, only Hashem, right? And then Uvarach Kelion, Hashem again, we saw different ideas. That was the end last time, that he gave him a tithe. What is the tithe? Who gave the tithe? So there were different ideas. The pshat sounds like it means Avraham Avinu gave a tithe to the Kohen. He gave Maser, so he gave him 1/10. Others understand, other than Farshi HaMikra, say, no, it's really that Avraham Avinu was the recipient of a tithe, and he was the recipient of a tithe from Malki Tzedek. That Malki Tzedek is sort of crowning Avraham Avinu with this vaunted position. We saw the Meshech Chochmah had written that really it's not that anyone gave anyone anything, but that Avraham Avinu received a bracha from Malki Tzedek. The bracha was, may God give this man, Avraham Avinu, 1/10 of everything. If everything equals 70 archetypal nations, the 70 nations, the archetypal nations, each representing 70 languages, which you understand doesn't just refer to dialects, but refers to 70 different ways of seeing the world, 70 ideologies. I spoke about this in the shir about Lashon HaKodesh, about Ivrit, about Lashon HaKodesh, and what that represents in the world as a spoken language, not only as a read language. So the idea that 1/10 of 70 is 7. And what is 7 is being referenced here? The 7 nations of Eretz Canaan. So that's all just a recap of everything we've seen tonight. Let's go to the next phase, which is the flip side, sort of cracked mirror. Give me one more minute to present this, and I'm going to take questions. Shelley, I know you're waiting patiently. Just give me a minute. Is after encountering the goodness that is in the world, personified in Malki Tzedek Melech Shalem, whether you want to understand Malki Tzedek Melech Shalem as Chazal say on the midrashic level, it's Shem ben Noach, or just on the level of Pshat. There was this righteous man. He was a monotheist. He lived in a place called Shalem. He gave Avram brachas, whichever one. I'm more comfortable personally with the way of Chazal here, and not to take a strict Pshat view. But everyone admits that the flip side, the cracked mirror reflection of this encounter is verses 21, 22, and onward. Vayor melech Sdom el Avram, ten li hanefesh, vareshu rechush kach lach. A bargain, some kind of a transactional relationship. I'll tell you what, Avram, you give me the people back, I'll give you all the wealth. And Avram refuses. Vayor Avram melech Sdom, harimoti yadi el Hashem Kel elyon konei shamayim va'aretz imichut ve'ad srochnav imekachem kol asher lach v'otomani hasharti et Avra. So first of all, just the opening of that tefillah is telling. We'll come back to it in a minute. I'm just doing the skira, the survey. Avram said to the king of Sdom, I raise my hand. It's like an oath. I raise my hand to a Hashem who is Kel elyon. Notice that Avram Avinu invokes the name of Hashem, Yud Kei Vav Kei, not just calling him Kel elyon in some amorphous or ambiguous kind of way, saying, this is it. He's the creator of heaven and earth. I won't take a shoelace from you, not a thread, not a shoelace. I don't want you to say you made me wealthy. Now, after I'm done, what does that mean? Do you really care? Was he not wealthy already? Biladai, rakasher achlu, hane'arim. The only thing that I want, though, is whatever the servants ate, or the lads rather ate. Rashi writes, it's my servants. That's who's going to get what is their due. The people who have to get paid are these people who came with me, which on the face of it, you want to say, well, that makes them mercenaries. That's only true if they were told, come with me now to fight alongside me. I will pay you, as opposed to a gratuity, an honorarium, for having performed this service without the promise of pay necessarily. I'll leave that open-ended. Okay, that's what we're going to analyze today. Try to understand what is this little conversation with Sdom, and how and in what way is that conversation really the flip side of the conversation with Malki Tzedek? The contrast is right there because they're two different encounters. The fact that the carryover of language, Kel elyon, Hashem Kel elyon, when Avraham Avinu speaks, is very significant. And we'll see that momentarily. Okay, Shelley, you waited so patiently. Please go ahead.
Two things. One, with the...
I can't hear you. You're still muted, I think.
Oh. I muted
your sound is not good. Shelley, I can't hear you. I know you're unmuted, but it doesn't seem to work.
I'm muted.
Try to raise your volume or something on your phone. Nope, I still don't hear you.
How about now? No?
Still not working. Try to connect your audio. See, there's a thing on the bottom next to your audio. Should tell you different ways to connect via audio. You want to connect with the computer audio.
Rabbi, I can hear her.
I see you, but I can't hear you.
Can I try a comment?
Oh, wait a minute.
We can hear
I'm
her.
sorry. Everyone else heard you. I didn't hear you. I had muted my computer, apparently.
Okay.
Try again.
Okay.
Bloopers. Sorry.
Two things. We know that that supposedly if the Avot kept the Torah, and this is Shem ben Noach, he would be keeping a lot of stuff too because he's got this yeshiva. Okay. Why is he a king and a priest? You cannot be a king and a priest. I mean, that's
Excellent question.
definitely in the Torah.
Excellent question. But I'm going to deny the question. I'm going to claim that Avraham Avinu, that's the uniqueness of Avraham Avinu. We have no record that Shem ben Noach, though he might have had access to knowledge about HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we have no reason to believe that he kept Kol Torah Kula whatsoever.
Oh,
Remember,
okay.
Shem ben Noach is maximally endowed with 7 Noachide laws. So he has 7 halachas. As long as he hasn't violated any of those 7, king and priest, no problem. Sheva mitzvah v'noach. Plus, so you'll say, well, what were they doing, spending all the time doing with 7 mitzvahs? How long does it take? The answer
And
is,
how do you run a yeshiva with 7 mitzvot?
right, except that one of the mitzvahs, for instance, is to set up a court system.
Oh.
So that's a lot to work out right there. That's your court. Then there are halachas about any of the Shem mitzvah v'noach. Belief in God, even just to understand more about Hashem, is in of itself considered inherently spiritually valuable. It's part of the avodat Hashem. Like, what were they learning? I don't know. Metaphysics. They were learning about the 7 mitzvot that they had. But it uniquely tells us the Gemara in Yuma. That's what you're quoting. Daf Chavchet, that Avraham Avinu keeps all of the Torah. So Avraham Avinu does, but they don't. Also, when it says that he keeps all of the Torah, a big discussion. What does that mean? Like, is he really bound by prohibitions? Is he only bound by that which is somehow a positive mitzvah, but he's allowed to violate prohibitions? It's really not clear. Really not clear.
Melech Sdom doesn't speak respectfully to Abraham, somebody
Right.
that just gave him everything back.
Exactly.
Give me. There's no nah. Shouldn't
There's no nothing. There's what do I owe you?
Yeah.
Let me pay the bill. I owe you for your service. And what I want is I want my power back and my unmute your speaker, increase volume. Okay, can everyone still hear me?
Now I can hear you.
Okay.
No.
Something strange just happened with the machine. Okay. We're at the mercy of the machines more than ever before. All right. So it goes. I guess also because I'm trying to open while we're talking, I want to open again the Meshech Chacham because I wanted to show you something in that. Which I'm not sure we're going to get to. We'll see. Okay, I forgot to open it before. My bad. But I think it's such a beautiful piece. Okay, well, let's keep going. If it opens, it opens, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. So the first thing already, Shelley, you just identified is the reality that he's so transactional, Melech Sdom. There's no thank you. There's no blessings. There's no invocation, by the way, of the name of God when he speaks, right? But a Jew speaks, even if you just say shalom to someone else, we maintain that's already invoking one of the names of Hashem as a greeting. You know, not in the profane sense, but in the sense that you're kind of trying to elevate whatever it is that's going on in that interaction. Melech Sdom will have none of that. Melech Sdom el Avram, ten li anefesh, v'chush kachlach. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to give me, right? I want the Chevy that you saved. I want to be in charge of that. That's the captives. And when I get to be in charge of the captives again, they were my captives before, then I'll let you go on your merry way, and I don't owe you anything. That's pretty much how it works. I'll pay you off, and thanks for your service. Yeah, Avraham does not want to accept this. For it should be for obvious reasons, I guess, right? And when it describes this idea about I'm going to be the I don't want you to say that you made me wealthy. What do you think that means? I ask.
That's very problematic because he took money from Paro, and Paro is pretty bad too. So how do you take all this money from Paro and not? I would think you couldn't take it from either of them.
So ask it this way: since we're already past that story, and we know that he got those as some kind of parting gifts or something. And by the way, as we discussed already, it prefigures what's going to happen to Jewish people when they leave Mitzrayim. Remember? When the Jewish people leave Mitzrayim, they get gifts after plagues hit the people and Paro. So the plague hit Paro here as well.
So you're saying it's Maaseh Avot Simon Levonim with power.
I know it is. Absolutely is. Yeah, for sure, for sure. But there's something going on. In other words, about the concept that he's already got. He's reduced it to the fiduciary interaction. That's sort of what's going to matter for him, right? How can I monetize this, right? So Avram, you deserve so much money, but then get out of my face. Get away from here. You know, it's something inarticulate. Karen, please. No, you didn't unmute yourself, Karen. Hold on. Okay, go. No, didn't work. 2 times.
Now?
Now, go.
There we go. Are we to presume that any of these captives who go back to Sdom are going to be subject to the same, shall we say, degradations that brought Avraham there in the first place?
That brought Lot there, you mean?
Yeah, when Avraham had to go get Lot out because it was and it was a horrible place.
It was a horrible place before Avram ever went to get Lot out. It's a horrible place before Lot went there. That's why we're saying, why was Lot going there?
So why are we to presume that one of the reasons that Avraham wouldn't want to give back the captives is that he knows this is just a vile place altogether? I'm not sending them back.
Right. So that's actually a bit of a question, don't you? Don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. The idea that perhaps Avram is hopeful that he has no right to claim the people as his, not as his slaves, not as his subjects, Avraham Avinu. And we saw 2 sessions ago, maybe it was last session, the beginning, we said, right, Avraham Avinu's whole point is, I'm not going to do this by power. The power is going to be the force of my ideas, not military power, not that people owe me and therefore I'm going to be able to either subjugate them, control them, whatever language you want to use. It's not that. It's really the idea of feeling I stand for what I stand for, and you know you have to figure it out, kind of thing. After that, right?
Which makes it interesting that the comment is, you shall not say it is I who made Aram rich, as opposed to it's not I who handed these people back. He had an opportunity to give a little sermon here about his values, and it's not in this exchange at all.
It's yeah, that's a very good
Are
point.
the people captives, or are the people just soldiers from Sdom, and he's just giving him his people back? Maybe
So
they're not captives.
It sounds like they are the former. It sounds like they are the former. That's what they refer to as the nefesh. A nefesh refers to a spirit, but the nefesh really refers to the portion of the spirit that refers to the animated nature of a human being, meaning a living creature, is a nefesh. So that's why the Torah later on will say, Ki hadam hu hanefesh. The blood is the soul. It's not the soul like neshama. It's nefesh is the lowest level of the neshama. It has a spiritual dimension, but it's the spiritual dimension of that which animates the physicality. So it's referring to give me the souls, as in like the people, like SOS. So it's to save our souls. These are the saved souls. Look at Rashi. Tell me a nefesh. Mina shevi shali shehitzalta. Hachzer li hagufim levadam. From the captives, from the captives of mine that were saved. The language of Rashi, in fact, makes it sound like they were my captives, says the king of Sdom. They were taking me captives there, and now they're going to be mine again. You know, give me the bodies. I want the bodies back. You know, according to the Eliyahu Mizrahi, this is what it's talking about. That's what Rashi refers to. And the Eliyahu Mizrahi, when it comes to Rashi, says the nefesh here refers to the body, and it's the general statement when it refers to a lot of bodies. They call them souls, plural, right? So this is the concept. And according to Rashi, the idea is he just wants the people back to be able to be, I guess, to be the ruler over them again. what's interesting, and I don't have a complete and full answer for some of the comments both that Shelley and Karen have made this morning about why it is that Avram didn't say, like, well, how could you keep them? How could you hold on to them as the despot that you are? We know this is a bad place. Why don't we make from this terrible crisis a fresh start? Why don't we find a way for people to be kinder to each other? Or give a little sermon. I gave just now a good example of what it means to be a Baal Chesed. I'm not patting myself on the back that I am the be-all and end-all Chesed in the world. Hashem is the be-all and end-all of Chesed in the world, but I have to try to emulate him. So I saved my nephew and I saved everybody else. And really, if I was really just about saving my own kin, I would have just saved Lot, rescue mission, pluck him out, save him, and leave the rest of you to stew in your juices. I saved everybody. You know why? Chesed. And you know why I did that chesed? To teach you chesed. Why wasn't Avraham Avinu more like overt? It's obvious that's what's happened. So why didn't he use this opportunity? And I want to just now segue that right into, I did find it now, the following I'm putting on your screen now for your edification. If you look carefully, when Avram speaks, Vayomer Avram el Melech Sdom, whereas there was no introductory words by Melech Sdom, what did Avram say? He had a little introduction. He takes an oath, but doesn't just take an oath. He says who the oath is in the name of. It's in the name of Hashem. Harimoti yadi el Hashem kel elyon konei shamayim va'aretz. The Meshech Chochmah, again, we saw Meshech Chochmah last time, but once I was in the Meshech Chochmah, I found this. I said, wow, this is quite something. So what is going on? Harimoti yadi el Hashem. Everyone can see this on the screen, I hope. Yes? Can you see it? Good? Okay. For those whose screens are blocked, I see it's closed off, but I hope you can watch it anyway, or at least see it on the screen. I hope you're able to see this also. This is the Meshech Chochmah to Pasuk Chav Bet, Perak Yudal. Harimoti yadi el Hashem. Habir, the explanation of this, that he literally, it means he raised his hand, take an oath. The oath is, I'm not taking a thread, not a shoelace from you. There's something else. Habir ki me Hashem mitzadei gaver konanu. From Hashem are the steps of a person, a set. V'la Hashem hamilchama. Unto God is the war. V'ish hama'aleh yichei zeh el hapoel ha'amiti yitbarach shemo. What was going on? What was the statement that was being made by Avraham Avinu here? Everything that's brought us to this moment, particularly the fact that I was victorious in the war, is all from Hashem. Implicit in Melech Sdom's comment, or flat out just like statement to Avraham Avinu, here, you take the money, I'll take the people, was, you're the victor. You won this war, Avram. You're amazing. And therefore, I owe you a debt of gratitude, and so I give you the money. Avraham Avinu says to him, first things first. I raise my hand to take an oath, but the preamble to the oath is a declaration and an affirmation. I didn't win this war. Hashem won this war. He helped me to win. And therefore, this becomes the opening statement of an Avraham Avinu, when he's confronted with someone who does not inject godliness into the conversation. Avraham Avinu will do that. And contrast this with what just happened a pasuk ago, 2 psukim ago. Look at how Malki Tzedek spoke to Avraham Avinu. He's not only the Kohen, the Kel Elyon, but he says, Baruch Avram. What was his language? Remember? He used the language, Baruch Baruch Avram lekel elyon konei shamayim va'aretz. He invoked godliness right there, right at the beginning. Baruch kel elyon Hashem again tzarech biyadecha. And blessed is the supreme God who placed your enemies in your hand. King of Sdom says, you did this, you're the winner, you're so strong, I got to pay you because you're just a mercenary. Avraham says, no. It's all from Hashem. Look at Meshech Chochmah, second line. Lo chen hapeti. Not so the fool, who will imagine that their own strength and their own ability or courage of their hand, strength of their might of their hand, caused this to happen. It's sort of like the pasuk from Sefer Dvarim. A person will say, all of my wealth, all of my power, it's all because I'm so smart, I'm so strong. But the wise person who is a believer in Hashem appreciates that, yes, I had my own input. Yes, I'm not a zero. I did something. but only because HaKadosh Baruch Hu enabled that something to happen, guided that something, and ultimately permitted it to succeed. Pen yinachu tzaremu, pen yomru yadenu rama, v'lo Hashem pal kol zot. Lest the people raise their hand, right? They'll become foreigners. It's sort of like a foreign way of being, right? Lest they say our strong hand has done this, and Hashem has not caused this to happen, right? The idea that the enemies have been taken away, but the individual, this is critical of the Jewish people, will say it's our strong hand that has brought this about. You know. So when we look at this and when we see it inside, we recognize that this is sort of a theme that's in Tanakh itself. That it's possible people will come to this erroneous conclusion. These words actually that I just read now from the Meshech Chochmah come out of the pasuk from Sefer Devarim, from Parshat Ha'azinu, from the Shira. So there's a series of verses that are very critical of the Jewish people, and the way in which the Jewish people themselves find themselves in a bad way, right? And they decide we did this. Right, so this is what's going on with the king of Sdom. Lachein Amar Avraham. I underline this part now. Therefore, Avraham said, "Harimoti yadi." I raise up my hand. Why his hand? Not just for the sake of an oath, but for the sake of singing. Perush, meaning kochu gvurati. My hand of milchama. Einenu misibati v'lo mechachmati v'lo migvurati chalila. See it? It's not from my own prowess, strength, might, and ability. Rak anochi merimota la'Hashem konei shamayim va'aretz. You know why I raise my hand? I'm not taking a vow yet. First, my hand is raised to say, this is my powerful hand. You know, like this convention we used to have until 2 months ago, when you see someone, you shake their hand. Do you remember this? Handshaking. Feels like a world ago. Handshaking, they think, began way back when as a means of saying, I have no weapon in my hand. My hand represents my use of force. So I stick out my hand, and could be also palms outstretched. What is Avraham Avinu doing? He's standing with his hand up. Konei shamayim va'aretz, right? I raise up my hand to Hashem, who is the creator of heaven and earth, who gave me my strength to win in this war. Lachein, ma li l'shalal shalcha. What do you think I have to do with your spoils? If I'm going to take some kind of benefit from it, it's like I'm benefiting from that which has been sacralized, that which belongs, if you will, on high to Hashem, to the temple treasury, so to speak. Therefore, actually, I can't take anything from you. If I take one thing from you, you know what that will do? It will negate the fact that I did this by the help of Hashem. Because I will have conceded to you, king of Sdom, that I didn't really get here except for the fact I'm a great, brilliant warrior. And this is what the Medrash means. Now look at this. Medrash on our section. V'Rabbanan Amrei Asa'an Shira. Kemadaat Amart Zekeli v'Anveo Ke'avi v'Ramamenhu. Like the song at the sea. This is the song. This is Avraham Avinu's song at the war. Perush, meaning, Shekemoshe Shov Bnei Yisrael Ad Kirat Yamsuf, Shehu Inyan Nes Nifla Bilti Tivi Klal, just as the Jewish people sang a song at the Sea of Reeds when they crossed through it, that this was something that was completely beyond the ken of nature. Kach Yiches Avram Mitzachim Mechamto LaHashem, Asher Behashgachato Apratit, Uvizroa Uzo, Nitzeach HaMalachim. He was declaring here an important, critical, crucial truth in this gathering in the Valley of Kings, where the way it's described in the Medrash, again, it's like some international conference. It's the San Remo conference. It's the United League of Nations, the United Nations. They gather together. And what's Avraham Avinu's speech? It's all from Hashem. Understand this, that what's going on is he took back the interpretation of what had transpired, because he knew that the king of Sdom would say, what a great warrior, Avraham Avinu, what strategy can we learn for our own battlefields? Avraham tells him, no, Harimoti Yadi El Hashem, Kel Yon Koneshim of Aretz. I'm raising up my hand to Hashem, who is the creator of heaven and earth, who's the maker of heaven and earth. And I'm thereby declaring, here's how we got here. And that's why the hand is raised. It's the hand of power. Karen, go ahead, please.
Am I the only one that's seeing Yaakov and Esau in this? Where you have the king of Sodom is coming out to meet Avraham. Avraham has an exchange where he's acknowledging Hashem. Melchizedek is taking the place symbolically of the angel. Then you have, again, the king of Sodom, who's Esau, making an offer that Avraham rejects. It's going to play out again, isn't it?
I could have said it better myself. What a beautiful way of seeing it, which is Amasya with Simon Labanim. Avraham Avinu had to confront evil.
And it maps out beautifully to that confrontation later.
Beautiful. Yeah. And also the whole issue of gift giving, by the way.
Gift giving and rejection of gifts.
Who's giving, who's not giving.
The whole thing, as we were doing, the whole thing was like, oh my gosh, I know this.
That's great. When we finally get the Parshat Vayishlach in about 8 years from now, the rate we're going, remind me.
I will forget it by then. You'll remind me.
Good. Excellent point. Shelley?
Rabbi, something is hugely missing from this part of it. Where's Lot? Why doesn't either Avraham take Lot back with him, totally or why doesn't Lot thank him? Where is Lot in this whole thing?
Lot is totally, completely, and utterly muted. He's like on mute on the Zoom. You can't even hear him or see him. Good point.
The Midrashim must say something about that. The fact that it doesn't say it in the text has got to mean something. And the commentators have a lot greater mind than I do, and they've come up with they have answers for these kinds of things. Or they have the question.
Need to get back to you. He's totally mute, passive, doesn't say thank you. Even a thank you, if he does, we don't know. I don't recall seeing anything in Mefarshei Mikra per se about it, but there must be something in the world of Medrash. I have not seen it, but that doesn't mean it's not. Is
this why right away in the next chapter, in verse 2 of chapter 15, he's going to say to God about Eliezer being his heir. So basically, is this because of Lot's behavior? Lot, he isn't even thinking of Lot as an heir anymore, because it would be a lot more. It would be a lot more to give it to your nephew than it would be to give it to somebody that you have taken into your house, even if you've somewhat adopted them.
Excellent point. And I don't know the answer.
Why
is Lot not mentioned at all? I need to get back to you.
Okay. I'm just wondering, is it because he doesn't back up Avraham? He doesn't make any explanation about Kel Elyon or anything like that, so he shows that, oh boy,
Rabbi,
you're not good.
Yeah.
Rabbi,
I'll get back to him. Yeah, Debbie, please go.
So I think that it's purposeful that there's no commentary on Lot, because it highlights the real message that we're supposed to get here, that just going back to Rabbi Liebtag and that quote, and to modern times with the IDF soldier praying at the Kotel, that's sort of unnecessary, because we're supposed to be focusing on what you put on the screen stated so beautifully in terms of what Avraham was thinking and saying here. This early on, let's remember that, this is sort of the beginning of his journey, and already he's doing all that.
I think that's right. That's right. Well said.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else before we go on to the next point? Okay. I have to look it up, Shelley Blinetta, about Lot. The great silence of Lot here is, yeah, strange. I don't know. Even stranger, though, is the next thing that happens, which is that even though Avraham Avinu says, I'm not going to take anything from you, he uses particular language, which on the face of it is some kind of rhetorical flourish, tells the king of Sdom, I'm not going to take a thread, I'm not going to take a shoelace, so that you don't claim that you made me wealthy. And the question, of course, is, can it really just be about getting money? Was it really a financial statement? Rashi, based on Chazal, really just view it as a concern on the face of it about the money buying influence, being able to say, I made Avraham who he is, and Avraham not wanting that to happen. It is kind of strange, though. I mean, if Avraham Avinu was being offered wealth now, somehow he didn't want to take it from the king of Sdom, because that would somehow negate the idea that Hashem gave Avraham Avinu wealth. Yet when he got it from Paro, he just kind of took it as gifts and he left. So now what was raised the question before, I'm throwing back out there. What's the difference? Why? So I said one answer I gave already. Okay, Masev with Simulabanim. He did it, and then it was gonna. Then what's gonna happen next is what's gonna happen next. Like it's gonna be later on Jewish history. Jewish people are gonna go down to Egypt. They're gonna be slaves, just like Sarah was taken captive. Jewish people taken captive, just as the Paro in the story with the Jewish people, 10 plagues. So this Paro got one big plague, and all of his servants got one big plague, and then they had to let them go with gifts, etc. Fine. So that's like setting something up for the future. But what of the fact that when it comes here, he says, no, look at Rashi, Pasuk Chav Gimel, Shekadosh Baruch Hu Evtichani La'asrani, Shenamar Vavarechecha. God promised that he will make me wealthy. I can't let you be the one to make me wealthy. Well, the money's not going to fall from the sky. So obviously somewhere he's going to get the money, if he's getting them, if that's what it really means. So it's not entirely, from Rashi at least, to me, it's not entirely clear. What I would submit Rashi's trying to say is, based on what we've seen until now, the same way that you, king of Sdom, see things through the prism of power and transaction, you will spin a tale that you made me into me, and that everything that I am is really you. And I don't want you having any digs on me to make claims that you have influenced me in any way, shape, or form. And even something that on the face of it is, it's money. It's not like he said, can you sign off on a manifesto that I, King of Sdom, have written about, selfishness and narcissism. It's not the fountainhead over here. Yet, Avram realized that there would still be some symbolic value to this.
And this is the same Abraham when he was looking for a place to bury Sarah.
Yeah.
That you see the same thing coming through even then.
Yes. That if he'll take it for free, they'll all say,
exactly.
Really are. Yeah. So we're not going to accept that. We just can't accept that. Right. Can't accept that. So that's definitely a question. Here, some of the Rishonim write that Avram basically was saying to the king of Sdom, I know that by rights I can take whatever I want, but I want to deny you this ability completely because I know that that's what you have in mind. The Ran, Rabbeinu Nissim, writes that the whole point of Avram in saying this to the king of Sdom is because the whole point of tzaddikim generally, through their actions, is that people should learn from them. Exactly. Good attributes, good ways to be.
Exactly.
And if Avram would take the money, they would think that he only endangered himself in order to be made more wealthy. And he wanted everyone to know that he went to war out of compassion for his relative and because he was zealous for Hashem, and he wanted to fight against Nimrod. And therefore, he says, you take everything back. And in the eyes of a person who's totally transactional and power-driven, this is totally befuddling. Why wouldn't you take the money? Why wouldn't you take the bag of loot and run? I mean, that's what I would do. So no, that's Avram, but there's another way to do this. It's of a kind with, I don't want to be, from the Medrash, I don't want to be your king. I don't want to be your prince. I'm certainly not your God. Because, by the way, there is a king of the world. There is a God, and he's right here. He's right. So the same thing. I'm not going to take this. I'm going to do the total opposite thing, and you're going to be left wondering, what's the message? Got a nice point, but it was sent to me privately, so I don't know if they want the name used. But one of our listeners did just write in that Lot is quiet because he's humbled and defeated. It's a teaching moment for Lot from Avram how to conduct your life. A very nice idea. So now we have two ideas about Lot's silence. It's a beautiful, beautiful idea. Thank you for that. I'm sorry I didn't see it sooner. Anyway, we have just a couple minutes left, so let's just go a little farther here. And the idea that you have from others, the idea of Avraham Avinu, that he doesn't want to take any benefit from anybody. It's not just the king of Sdom. He doesn't want from anybody, and therefore he doesn't want from the king of Sdom especially, but it's part of Avraham Avinu's approach to life and living. And that's a little bit challenging when you take it against the backdrop of what happened with Paro, but that's the Abarbanel's claim. And take it or leave it. The idea here that there was some life's ideology, a way of being.
Well, unless, Rabbi, you say he didn't take, unless there's the idea that I've heard that he didn't take anything from Paro. Paro did not give him anything. He allowed him to take out whatever he'd brought in. And he had a bunch of stuff from Haran that he brought.
It would solve the problem. It would solve the problem. I give you that. It would certainly solve the problem. I guess. Yeah, I mean, it could be. All right. I think we're actually at the time now because it's already 10 o'clock. I had something else to say, but there's always next week. So let's table it for now. Thank you all for joining me. You're all welcome to join. What is it? Tomorrow morning's class is the Soul of the Sitter. Rabbi Sprung's giving a class on Wednesday morning. Mine starts at 9 o'clock tomorrow, Soul of the Sitter. 9:15 with Rabbi Sprung on Wednesday. Thursday, of course, 9:30. We're back on together for the next exciting installment of David HaMelech and the unfortunate tragedy of his life as a parent, and particularly as regards the great rebellion of his son Avshalom. That's all time for today. So I wish